I mean, Amanda, run. What are you doing? You forget about Ciara now. You screwed that up. That's never going to go back. I mean, you're jumping out of the pan into the wait, jumping out of the pot into the frying pan? Whatever. You know what I mean. You go
Out of the
from one
pan
bad
into the
situation
fire.
to
I think it's out of the pan into the fire. Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join three Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers! Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are here talking about Summer House Reunion Part 3. But before we do that, we'd like to ask you a favor. Please go over to YouTube and hit subscribe if you've not done that already. Please give us 5-star reviews and subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all the places. And thank you for those who have done it.
Thank you.
So we start out with Ciara is still in her dressing room and she's talking to Mija. And they're all getting ready to go back out on stage. Out on stage, Bailey's sitting there, and she says to Amanda, "Come sit with me." And Amanda comes and sits down, and she's like, "I am very worried about you." And Amanda said, "I appreciate that you're saying that." And Amanda's saying, "Maybe I'm naive to him, and I have a lot of I've had a lot of conversations, and he made me feel." And Bailey's like, "Say I don't trust him." Like Bailey is still rooting for her. Like I like that she is kind of empathetic to Amanda, but she has seen through West, I think, from the very beginning. But she's still trying to be there because nobody is there.
I totally agree with you. I thought it was nice of Bailey to reach out like that and just kind of let Amanda know, like, you do have like one friend here. And I think that's important because obviously Amanda's been open about her mental health issues. So Bailey said, "I still don't trust him." And Amanda said, "That's okay. That's okay."
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, and I noticed this, even then, she's like, it's just hard for me to sit on this stage and I try and explain myself when like no one will listen. And to me, she still looks completely like this. Like, this is someone who isn't coming at you. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know what it was she was taking. I don't know what gives you that no expression because it was more obvious in this part of the reunion, I think, than it was earlier in the reunion. Like, she had to take something on that break. I don't know what.
I agree with you. I have written down that she and West both seem robotic. And I looked up, I should have kept it up. Give me 1 second. I looked up beta blockers because I know we're not there yet. But when Andy asked West, "Are you on a beta blocker?" I'm like, "What's a beta blocker?" So it's a prescription
Sierra
medication.
Miller. Yeah, she put out a statement and explained that whole thing.
Yeah, it slows your heart rate, relaxes your blood vessels, decreases your cardiac output. I mean, it sounds like it's a Xanax. Is a Xanax a beta blocker?
I have no idea. But she said that it doesn't turn off your emotion. It just stops like your heart from racing fast. Like it's, to
It
stop
doesn't shut off
anxiety.
your emotion, but it definitely has an effect on you where you're probably not going to respond as you normally would. I understand Ciara is pissed. I understand she's still very, very angry. I do think it's time for her to kind of listen, at the reunion, yeah, go at it. But we're very removed now. You've got to move on. Friendship, done. West, fuck him. You got to stop the post, though. Enough is enough. That's my personal opinion. I'm probably going to get some hate for that, but
no, that's right. Listen, we are all entitled to our opinions, right? I don't think we're as far removed from it as we think, though, because they just were in Italy because they didn't want to be here for the reunion airing. And we know that they're together.
mm-hmm.
And it's posted out there. Like it's out there. So I think her statement was fair. And I think her statement was fair. That's all I'll say. But
So
neither one of them
put something out about beta blockers, though. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, she put out
It's just interesting because I follow her and I didn't see it.
Yeah, she put it on Instagram, like what the debate, exactly what you just said, and that it doesn't take away your emotions. Like it just, regulates, your heart rate and things like that. And it doesn't. I would imagine that it doesn't. Like, there's not the only thing I can think of that would take away, like, putting you asleep, like, would be, like, some sort of, like, tranquilizer or something. I have no listen, I don't know drugs. Like, drugs are not my thing.
No, I know, and honestly, I know them unfortunately because of other people, not because of myself. I did take Xanax a few times though when I was going through a stressful situation, and I will say this, Xanax to me seems like something where it would not take away your emotion, but just again, where you wouldn't really respond. It's just like things roll off and you're like, "Okay, okay." I
I
think
see
I thought that's what I thought Amanda maybe was on Xanax, but I don't know, and listen, I don't care. You
yeah.
looked terrible sitting there, non-responsive, not remorseful at all. She just didn't seem remorseful. Even when she was apologizing, saying, "I fucked up this friendship," she still didn't seem remorseful.
No, she didn't. She didn't. And that was yeah, she didn't. So then there's still, they're out there sitting on the couch and they're waiting for Andy to come in. And Lindsay says to Jesse and Carl, like, you're both 6'5". Like, Jesse, why are you so slouched over? And then she's like, oh, maybe it's Carl's torso is longer. Kyle says, well, not every 6'5" man is built alike. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And then he's like, oh my gosh, remember when we were fighting and I called him a 6'5" mother effer? And he starts laughing, and then they all start laughing, and Lindsay's like, "Yeah, like, that's not was that supposed to be an insult?" It was so
Really
funny.
gotta
I
work
was
on
like,
your trash
"I
talking,
know,
Kyle.
I know." Listen, I think that, it was needed, like, some levity was needed in
Yeah,
this situation, you know?
yeah.
And then Andy does finally come out, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna dive into what's going on, but first we need to discuss how we got there." And he said, West, you were a steady support for Amanda all summer. At what point did that start to feel like more than just a friendship? West said, we started going out a lot in February and March with a lot of my friends and having a lot of fun. He said, I think seeing her happy and have a lot of fun and like being Amanda, and I didn't see prior. Meanwhile, she's sitting next to him looking like she's stoned out of her mind. Like, that's what I wrote down. Like, she literally looks like she's just stoned out of her mind. Like,
Even the way she was talking, like, her voice was like
yes,
this.
yes.
It was, like, robotic.
Yeah, stone cold face, like, it was just I was bringing her around my friends, that was special to me. I know it sounds so black and white, but it was a treat for me to see Amanda look incredibly happy. We started spending more time together, and Andy says to Amanda, like, "Was there a moment with you when, like, your feelings for Wes clicked?" She's like, "Not really." He said to me, "Am I crazy? Like, is there something here?" And then she said, "It just all the emotions came flooding in."
Yeah, like, it wasn't a buildup. I have to be honest with you, and you're gonna think I'm naive, and I'm sure all the listeners are. I really don't think there was anything going on last summer between them. Now, with that said, I think when West and Jesse joined the house, I think that they were attracted to all of the women. I mean, look how Jesse acted with Paige. Like, Jesse had to be reminded, like, she's got a boyfriend. I think that that's and remember Jesse was commenting on Amanda's posts, like the fire signs and stuff, where when he was hanging out with Lexi, she was like, "That's inappropriate. You shouldn't be doing that." I think that that was just their relationship. But when West said, "I think I've been in love with her for a long time," that I believe. I believe that, but I just don't think there was I do believe Amanda when she said she was so wrapped up in her marriage ending and trying to navigate her leaving. Maybe she had feelings for West, but I just I don't think anything physical was going on. But I guess maybe that's what they admit to, that there was emotional. I don't know. I don't think they were communicating it to each other,
Yeah.
but I could be naive.
Because then Andy says, "To be clear, were you having an affair this summer?" And they both said, "Absolutely not." And Wes said, "Listen, because I lied to people in this room, I understand why, like, nobody's gonna believe us." Jesse said, "Not only did you lie to us, but you made us feel like we were crazy." And then Andy goes over to Mia. On Watch What Happens Live, I asked you, like, when do you think something happened between Wes and Amanda? And she said, this was on April 14th that he asked her. She said, "Looking back, I would say yes." Like, she didn't think it at the time, but now looking back on April 14th, she said yes. And he said, "Well, what made you look back and say that?" She said, "Well, I can give you a couple examples. For example, Kyle and Carl got into a fight, and Amanda, you and I and the girls were in the kitchen, and you're so cool and collective when you're talking to us, and as soon as you see West, when you walk in the door, you go to his arms and you start crying." And it was true. Like, I looked at that, I'm like, that how does that just happen? Like,
I really feel like she was just emotional because he pulled his chair over by her and what she said last week. And listen, I'm not defending Amanda. I
yeah.
don't want anybody to think I'm defending Amanda. But when she said, "No, it's always been the girls sticking up for me when it came to Kyle and his behavior." And finally, one of the guys, even though we saw Carl do it as well, one of the guys like pulled his chair over and was like, "Kyle, stop talking to your wife like that." I think that's why she got like a flood of emotion when she saw him in the foyer. But again, I could be wrong.
Right. No, right. No. And then the other time was that same night when you go outside and, Carl's out there and you go behind Amanda with your arms around her and like your arms, you're like your hands are near her breasts. Like, I think that's weird.
I totally agree with that. And she said, "You wouldn't grab me like that." And he wouldn't have. He wouldn't
Right.
have grabbed Lindsay like that. He wouldn't have. But I feel like Ciara, Paige, Amanda, West, Jesse, like they all when Jesse and West came into the house, like it was kind of that blurred line there. Even with Jesse and Ciara last summer, like Lexi had to be like, "Yo,
Mhm.
enough. If we're dating
Right.
each other, then you don't act like
Right.
that with her."
Right. I mean, they've definitely had flirty banter.
Yeah.
I will 100% agree to that.
Yeah.
But like to cross the line,
No, that grab that was close to her boobs was a lot.
yeah. Yeah. But Andy said to West on at the reunion, "Did you have a crush on Amanda at that time?" And he said, "No, but we definitely got way closer." So on the reunion stage, he's saying that he didn't have a on her, but then we see next week on the new bonus episode when he does a sit down with Kyle, he says, "I've always been in love with her." It's like, come on.
I know. I think that he lies so much, he doesn't even know what he's lying about anymore. He doesn't even know what to believe when it comes out of his mouth, honestly.
Yeah. And then Andy asks Amanda if she had a crush on him. And she's like, "No, I was dealing with my own like situation and my marriage fallout."
I do believe that, however,
I do too. I do
I
believe that.
however, on the boat, remember when she said like or when she texts like, "Wow," when Wes said best weekend ever, and she was like, "Wow," like he chose the weekend I wasn't there. That was a little weird.
No, that
But
was a little
again, they
weird.
had like a weird like a flirty banter, like you said. It's
Yeah.
hard to
I mean,
decipher because of their friendship going into this debacle.
I agree. And then Amanda said, "What's so frustrating is that I'm not an effing cheater. I'm not going to step out on Kyle. I'm not going to do things that are inappropriate. I've been cheated on and I've been hurt." And then Lindsay said, "We're not talking about hooking up. We don't think you guys did hooked up over the summer." Ciara said, "I think you definitely had an emotional affair." And Wes said, "We definitely became closer throughout the summer." So again, it goes back to the emotional affair versus, a physical affair. Like, obviously, an emotional affair is worse, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, it is.
Right?
Although I don't want to, picture my husband with some, it's all bad, let's face it. But emotional and then over time, it's like that's
Right.
such a betrayal of trust. That's what it is. That's more of a betrayal, I guess.
Well, I think that's the whole situation is that it is a betrayal, and that's
Yeah.
where the problem lies. That's where the problem lies.
Yeah, and I do think that that's more of Sierra's issue is the way like, West, she expects to lie to her, but Amanda, like, come on.
Right.
And Jesse, the same thing, like, but with both of them, like, especially if they were denying it and making him feel like he was crazy for thinking it. That's so that I mean, I don't even think I would be capable of doing that. I don't even think I'm capable of lying like that. I mean, I'm not a liar to begin with, but you have to I mean, that's serious commitment to try to make your best friend think they're crazy for saying you're doing something that you're actually doing.
That you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Lindsay says, when you were yelling at West, it seemed like you were doing it on behalf of Ciara when they were at that party and that girl was sitting on his lap and he was kissing her. Amanda said, "There's a level of respect we have to live here together." So she recognized it in that situation. And like Lindsay said, like, we thought you were doing it on behalf of Ciara, but now looking back on it, like,
Yeah. Yep. It did seem like it was coming from something more, and even Kyle was like, why was I getting yelled at in
right,
moment?"
right.
And
And
she
then
did.
Kyle
She
said,
was like, "You really wanna argue with me over this?" Like,
mm-hmm,
"Okay."
yeah. Then Kyle says, I have one timeline question that I'm a little concerned about. Just because you lied once, I'm going to give you one last chance to take your word. He said, so Brianna, we're talking about Brianna Chicken Fry, told Dave Portnoy at the Super Bowl, which is February 3rd, I think, or February 8th, that you guys were a thing. Kyle said there's only 2 weeks between when we split and Super Bowl. So somehow one of your close friends thought that you two, of as much as that you two were an item in a 2-week period. Amanda said, yeah, we were hanging out
Yeah, but that's not necessar okay, so Super Bowl was February 8th, okay?
February
So if
8th.
she announced their separation on January 1st, that's 5 weeks. That's not 2 weeks. That's
It
5
wasn't
weeks.
January 1st. It was January 16th.
She said she decided to leave him. She made
Right.
the
But the
decision
state,
on January 1st. So even though
right.
we weren't aware of it, Kyle was aware of it. So it was 5 weeks from the time she told him, "I'm done." Just because she didn't announce it to the rest of us, I mean, it's really not our
No, no,
business.
no. She said that was the breaking point. She didn't even announce it to Kyle because, and this is one of the things that I think Kyle's talking about on the People interview, because I've heard him talk about this. So, and I think that this is kind of where it's so murky. She sent him a statement. Now, if she made the decision on January 1st, is what she told us, right? And then she waited for
Everybody to
she
get back
wanted to
into
call
the
the
office.
right. Well, why did that take until the 16th? Because then
I
Kyle
think
said
it did.
it didn't. That's what I'm saying to you. That's when she made the decision in her mind, but that's not when she acted on the decision in her mind. Because then Kyle said, you sent me this statement and you said, we got to get it out. We got to get it out. And what he also said is the first attempt at a statement she sent me, I read it and I sent it to my mom and she's like, there's not like, you guys, you're not getting back together. You're separating. You're divorcing.
I mean, he really had to send it to his mom because she's an English teacher. He couldn't figure that out on his own.
I mean, I don't
This
know.
is the guy who's running Loverboy, everyone. This is the guy.
I mean, listen, his emotions are in play. Like, I would send it to my mom too. I would, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's better than using ChatGPT.
Well, he did.
His mom?
No, Amanda. Maybe that's why he needed his mom to figure it out because she used ChatGPT.
But what I think, and this is one of the things that have been going around online, is that she wanted that statement out that they were separating at that time because that's when I think the videos were surfacing.
Wasn't he at the Super Bowl with Ciara?
Who?
West. I thought he
He
was at the Super Bowl with Ciara.
he wasn't at the Super Bowl with Amanda.
Pretty sure he
I
was
don't
there
know
with
who he
Ciara.
was with. I don't
I'm
know. No, wait.
pretty
I think
sure it was
wasn't
Ciara.
it with Jesse? Wasn't it Jesse? Because didn't
Ciara was there.
anyway. The other thing is Kyle said. Then all of a sudden, like, I think this is when, remember she said, like, the videos are starting to surface? Like, I think this is when somebody had information on her and she wanted to get it out there. Because then Kyle said, all of a sudden, I get an email from an attorney for her. Like, she had filed after the statement was put out and after the rumors started coming out, before her statement came out with West, I get an email from an attorney. He's like, and I didn't do anything with it at first. And then after her statement came out with West, which he didn't find out about until she texted Ciara the night before, and Ciara called him right away. And then 8 hours later, he found out. So Ciara found out about it before Kyle did. She'd already started the ball rolling on getting the actual divorce. It's just like there's so much that
There's
doesn't
so
make
much
sense.
because I thought Kyle told Andy that he and Amanda had a conversation before the statement came out. I thought he said we talked the day before.
Well, she gave him the statement and said, we've got to get this approved. We have to
No,
get
no,
this
no.
statement
The
out.
statement about her and West. I thought
No, no, no,
Kyle
no.
said
No, they didn't talk the day before.
I thought Kyle said that. But, West was, in fact, at the Super Bowl with Ciara. There's pictures. They were spotted
which
together,
makes
hanging out and
which
sitting side by side during the festivities.
which makes it even more effed up.
So effed up. So effed up. Because wait a minute, when did the statement come out? We're getting sidetracked here, but when did the statement come out from Amanda and West? In March or April?
March.
Okay. Okay, so it was way after the Super Bowl. So Ciara would have had no idea at that point.
No. Well, no. No. She wouldn't have been there with him if she had an idea.
It is interesting that he was full on dating Mija. Yeah, he was at the Super Bowl with Ciara and he was canoodling with Amanda. I mean, this guy.
Mhm.
This.
So Amanda said in that moment, oh no, Mia said, I have a question really quick, Amanda and Wes. Did you honestly just come forward because you guys saw there was so much speculation, or were you going to continue to lie to us? And Amanda said, to be honest, in that moment, we came forward because of the speculation, and I was still trying to understand and figure out, like, including the Mija situation. Well,
Right.
that
So Ciara
that's
never even
crazy.
crossed your mind.
Right,
Ciara never crossed your mind, which is
right.
wild. Did you see so I don't know if this was only on Peacock, but did you see where Andy asked Amanda, were you and Ciara just show friends?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was very quick, but she like so hesitates before she answers. And she's like, no, no, we were more than show friends. We had a true friendship. But like she totally hesitated and she answered in that odd voice she had this whole reunion and slow.
Yeah, definitely slow. Amanda said again, I know that I effed it up. I know I didn't handle it right in that moment. That's all I could understand how to do. Again, I'm sorry for lying to you, Ciara.
You know, first of all, again, no remorse. Second of all, it went on so long. You lied for so long. You denied it for so long. You made people think they were crazy for so long. It's
Mhm.
really it's just inexcusable. Like, no matter you can say
Yeah.
you're sorry until you're blue in the face, but it was just too long of a period of time that you were trying to figure it out. If you were gonna mess around with Wes, you should have known already, "I am in love with this person. I cannot control my feelings anymore." Not just testing the waters, at the expense of Kyle and Ciara. 'Cause I do feel bad for Kyle. I do think he was a shitty husband. I'll die on that hill. But I do feel bad that this was one of his best friend. I mean, show best friends, but a real life friendship nonetheless, you
Yeah,
know?
no, I think that they had a real life friendship. I mean, like he said, he went, he met his daddy, like he's hung out with him when there was
Yeah,
no cameras. Like that's a real friendship. I think
sure.
that's a real friendship.
I feel like you needed to know that you were in love and this was just something that you couldn't do, you couldn't not do. You were so in love with that before you hurt people the way you hurt people, and not only Ciara and Kyle, mostly Ciara and Kyle, but everybody else. Poor Jesse. Said on Watch What Happens Live after the reunion, he went home and cried some more.
Yeah. Yeah, and Andy said to Wes, I'm assuming there are other girls that you were hanging out with during that time. And Wes said yes. And he said, did Mija know like you were with other women? And Wes said, well, I obviously wasn't the clearest. I told her it was not an exclusive relationship in like November or December. And Sierra's like, you're lying because you sent her flowers on Valentine's Day. Like, does the lying stop? And she's right.
So right. Meanwhile, he was with her at the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, maybe Mija knew that, but I mean, Ciara
Well,
didn't know about me. Well, I guess they were just hanging out at the Super Bowl. So what do I know?
right. Well, then Wes said, I've been not clear with a zillion women that I've dated prior to this. You think?
Yeah, like, thanks, Captain Obvious, and I liked what Ciara said, like, you have to admit to all of this because the internet will go crazy on you because all these girls will come out and be like, "The F you were
Right.
monogamous."
Kyle said, do you understand that that's a little concerning because I still care for her? Kyle said, you were exclusive with Mihai. Kyle said, no, she thought we were. Did she? And Amanda, once again, just sitting there, stone faced, just like sitting there. And he said, how do you know Kyle and Sierra? They said, I've talked to her. Andy's confused. Like, how do they have all this like information? And I've talked to this woman and they're both like, yeah. And Andy said, so you were dating her and she thought you were exclusive, but you were seeing other women. Kyle said, yeah, 14 months. And then Wes said, correct.
I mean, Amanda, run. What are you doing? You forget about Ciara now. You screwed that up. That's never going to go back. But what are you doing? I mean, you're jumping out of the pan into the jumping out of the pot into the frying pan? Whatever. You know what I mean. You
Out
go
of the
from one
pan
bad
into the
situation
fire.
to a next.
I think it's out of the pan into the fire.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Andy
What are you
asked Amanda,
doing?
does it give you cause for pause with Wes saying that he was seeing this woman and telling her that he loved her and that they thought that she thought that they were exclusive? And Ciara said, and sending her flowers on Valentine's Day and flying her out to Bozeman for a game with your dad.
Crazy.
Amanda said, I had some of this information, but not all of it. And Andy's like, well, doesn't it worry you like that he sent her flowers on Valentine's Day? She's like, well, there was nothing really going on between us then.
But it was 3 days later.
Well, Valentine's Day, right?
It's February 14th.
Well, not 3 days later.
And weren't they saying like mid-February, mid to late February is when things really started out.
So
I
Andy
wanna
said, is
know,
anyone else?
did West call this Mija and well, maybe we'll find out next week when she's talking to Ciara. Like, did he call
We're
her
definitely
and
going to
say
find
like,
out.
we're not, I don't want to see you anymore. I can't see you anymore. Like, did that conversation happen or did he just ghost her after 14 months? Because could you imagine being his age and seeing somebody for 14 months and stringing them along and then just ghosting them like that? Like, by the
To
way,
imagine.
West has a podcast and
I
he was
know.
mute during this whole reunion and he's talking a lot on his podcast. You couldn't pay me to listen to that podcast. You'd probably see me listen to Teresa Giudice's podcast before I listen to a West podcast, but he's talking a lot on this podcast. He's got a lot to say, but didn't the day of the reunion because he knew he'd get eaten alive.
Yeah.
And who is his co-host? Have more respect for yourself, sweetheart. Get out
He
of
has
there.
a co-host?
Yes,
He
it's
has
a
a
female.
co-host? I didn't know that. I know
I
he has a
saw the
podcast, but
picture.
I've never listened to it. Okay. Andy asked if anyone else met Mija, and Ben and Jesse said they did, and that was on April 14th, 2026. We said she thought that she was in an exclusive relationship. Like, she thought she was. But West explained it, or they didn't think, according to Jesse and Ben, they didn't think that West was in an exclusive relationship with Mija. Which, if they met her,
because they saw him screwing around with other people. But
right.
Jesse said, now looking at it from the outside, he must have been telling her that they were exclusive.
Right. So then Wes said, yes, she thought we were in an exclusive relationship. And Amanda looked over at him and her eyes bugged out a little. That was the first actually reaction I saw from her. And it was only her
Totally agree.
eyes. It was just like, I was like, oh, got a reaction.
Yep.
Jesse said he met in October when they went to Montana, and he always thought that that him and Mija were not exclusive. Jesse said, what it feels like now is that you probably told her that this is all for the show, which I think that's probably what he did. Like, I have to, I can't let anyone know we're exclusive because then,
Right. So you and I are boyfriend, girlfriend. You're my girlfriend. You're my girlfriend. You're my girlfriend. But that's only between you and I because of the show. I can't. Like, what?
So then Jesse's crying and says, I'm not that person in the situation that needs the sympathy. Like, I feel for Ciara and Kyle, but like the lie, I'm really upset that the sanctity of this friendship, this friend group feels broken. It's not even just my friendship with you. It's the whole group you effed up, right? And he said, I would have never expected this from you, and I'm sad about it. And then Wes said, I apologize, Jesse. And Andy said, Wes, you said at the après-ski party that you weren't looking to be anyone's boyfriend. And Andy says, since the two of you have expressed your feelings for each other, have the two of you been monogamous? Wes, have you been monogamous? He had to repeat it. Have you been monogamous to Amanda since you expressed feelings? Wes said, not since we've expressed feelings, but since the statement, yes.
Yeah, since I'm going to be held accountable because people are going to be watching me because now they know I'm with Amanda. Yes, now I've been monogamous. But up until then, I was swinging my big D around New York. And
Or
wherever else I could.
we don't even know if it's a big D.
Yeah,
You're
well,
swinging your
actually,
D.
from my flaccid D around New York.
Yes.
This
Then a
isn't the
viewer
part where
asks
Jesse says the thing about his, friend, right? That
No.
comes up later, yeah.
Yeah. A viewer asks Wes, "There's a lot of pressure on you to make things work with you and Amanda, and you need to make this work with Amanda ASAP. You need to either marry her or get her pregnant." I don't know if you noticed this, but whenever these tough questions went to West, the first thing he would do is cough. He coughs. Andy says, "Do you feel pressure to make," and also Andy also always has to repeat the question to him.
Right,
"Do
right.
you feel pressure to make things work?" He's like, "Yeah, I do. Like, I don't think that they should be like, I don't think that should be why we make this work, but like in the moment, like I feel like, yeah, I'm not making it work because I feel pressure to, but yes, we need to make this work."
He said he's committed. He's committed to this,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Right. Because Andy says, it seems dangerous for someone with very clear commitment issues. Wes said, yeah, I would agree.
It's like he's talking about a different person, not himself,
I know. I
right?
know. It's crazy.
It's really crazy.
This is why I think Kyle is so upset because, he goes on, you and I were really close friends and learning about what's been going on like in the relationship. Kyle has admitted that he was a bad husband. He was, not great to Amanda, but that also means that Wes knew exactly how vulnerable she was and he totally took advantage of it. He totally took advantage of it. Not that Amanda's innocent, but honestly, I don't think Amanda has the mental capacity to even make these good choices.
You know, I was thinking about this. West is obviously a rebound, right, for her? And you go hard in on the rebounds. You go really hard in on the rebounds, and I was with somebody for 7 years and almost got married, and, so it took me a while to, like, get to the point where I even wanted to talk to somebody else, and the first guy I talked to, I was like, "Oh, this is it. Okay, great. I'm gonna date him now." Like, it was clearly a rebound. It did not last at all, but I think that's what's I do again, not trying to defend Amanda, but I do think that West is manipulating the situation, and I think
Definitely.
that Amanda's
Definitely.
just falling for it, and it's a guy she was already friends with, she's super comfortable for him, he's gassing her up, and, you know, he's being sweet
Yeah.
and caring and kind and all the things Kyle wasn't.
Yeah. Then the next thing Kyle says, and to quote you on Andy, he said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to show her the streets." West coughs again. Kyle says, in deciding to make that move, to pursue those feelings, you essentially completely isolated her. Like she's kind of alone on an island, and West is sitting there nodding his head yes.
She is, he's not wrong.
I know. I honestly have to ask you, what is your plan for Amanda, and is it going to be worth it? Because I'd like to think that you care about her. And Wes says, well, part of our conversation's weighing in on how much this could F up friendships. That's why I wish more than anything that we could have spoken to each other before any of this shit got carried away. Well,
What,
why
5
couldn't
weeks
you?
wasn't long enough exactly, why couldn't
Right.
you?
Right. And that's what Kyle said. That's when you were already in my business. That's when you were inserting yourself in my marriage. I was texting you early February, not knowing that you were in Miami on a dinner date with her and talking about my sex life or lack thereof. And Kyle said, "Do you understand how big of a fool I feel?" And Wes says, "Yeah, totally."
Yep, that's it. Yep.
And then Wes
That's
says,
so
"That wasn't
gross, like
anything romantic. That wasn't anything romantic at that time." And Jesse's like, "Well, then why wasn't I invited?" "I don't know. You and I had dinner plans the next, like, yeah, I should have invited you." Come on.
yeah. It
He
it gets
just,
worse and worse the more that comes out. Worse and worse and worse for as far as West. And Amanda's just along for the ride, and Kyle's right, she is alone.
so then Wes says, that this got so out of my control. I totally regret not speaking to you about it first. Andy said, this was so in your control. It absolutely was.
You controlled the whole fucking thing. You controlled the whole thing. You made the first
Sierra's,
move. You said to her, "Am I crazy or is this something?" I mean, I'm not saying nothing would have happened if he didn't say that or do but he initiated everything.
yeah,
She probably, you know, could have stayed somewhat clear-minded about how badly this would have affected her friendship with Ciara. Like, even if she thought if it weren't for him prompting it, she would have been like, "Whoa, you know what? Maybe I take a step back from hanging out with West."
yeah. I mean, Andy says, the reason this is such a betrayal is because of all the scenes we see of Ciara trying to help you get out of your bad relationship. And Amanda says, I did a really shitty thing. And Ciara's like, well, you're still doing a really shitty thing. Andy said, well, what do you have to say about it? And she's like, in regards to what?
It was almost like Dorit on her reunion. Like, apologize for what, Andy?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Amanda said, this has been a crazy, confusing time. I've developed feelings for someone that I wasn't supposed to, the way that I wasn't expecting to. Again, there was times I lost sleep. I didn't eat, thinking about what this was going to do to our friendship, referring to Ciara. Even the fact that these feelings existed. I effed up. I'm deeply sorry, betraying your trust. It kills me to know that I've caused you this pain. But again, she's saying all of it without emotion. Like, she's saying it's stone-faced.
Yeah, the lack of emotion and the way she was talking and just because I feel like when it the first part of the reunion, she was very defensive and she was saying things and she was sticking up for herself. And then by the end, I don't know if she was just exhausted or if maybe she took a Xanax or something during the break.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she was just exhausted. And listen, if she did take a Xanax, I can't say that I blame her because I don't know if I could have handled all that heat either. The heat she brought on herself, for sure, self-inflicted heat. But with somebody with mental health issues is could possibly need something to help her get through the rest of that day. That's a long day.
Yeah. And then the next thing Ciara says, which is, again, like, this is so heartbreaking. She says, you didn't even text me. Well, I mean, you texted me 24 hours before your statement, finally admitting it. I'm calling Kyle, like, what the F did I do to you? And then Lindsay has to come pick me up off the bathroom floor because I can't do my effing job because I couldn't fathom that I would be sitting right here today, pissed that you're effing my ex. I was like,
I know that was heartbreaking to hear. That really was. And goes to show what a good friend Lindsay is.
yeah,
Because
oh,
there were no
definitely.
cameras. Nobody knew what was going on. And Lindsay was the one who went. I'm sure other people would have if asked, but Lindsay showed up.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And like I said, that's why Kyle didn't know about it. I think it may be on the people that he says it. He did not know about it until he found out first from Ciara, and then 8 hours later, she texted him, which is crazy. And then she goes on to say, which is so true, if anything, you'd be like, he wants revenge against Ciara because he resents her so much that, like, did that ever cross your mind? Because he wants to embarrass me, meaning Ciara. He wants to get his little last word, and this is his last little word, and I hope it works. He's with you to spite me. Like, that was, I don't,
I don't necessarily agree with that,
I
and
don't,
God
I,
bless Ciara. I don't think she was a thought on Wes's mind at all.
no, I don't either. I don't
And
either.
I feel bad saying that because, that's hurtful for her. But I don't agree with that. I think he's an opportunist, and like they said last week, like he knew she was gonna have a lot of attention coming her way with leaving her marriage, and he was like, she's gonna be all over the internet, people are gonna love her, so I'm gonna be all over the internet, and people are gonna love me, and boy, did that backfire,
Yeah.
and you dragged her right down that hole with you.
Andy then asked Ciara which scenes have been the most difficult for you to watch. And she said, well, I think, and she's crying I think it was the last episode, watching me and Amanda say goodbye to each other and me telling her how much I love her, how special she is, how beautiful she is. She's seen, she deserves the best. It kind of effed me up a little bit. And Amanda is sitting there the whole time, stone cold face. Jesse throws his head back. KJ looks disgusted. Carl has his head down. Like, I'm watching all the reactions.
Yeah.
And Dara also looks disgusted.
She
And then
did. She
Andy,
did look disgusted a lot when West was talking or they were talking
yeah.
about things with West. Like, you could see it on her face, but her dissertation on him, the second, part of the reunion was spot on.
Yes, it was. Andy said to Ciara, at the final weekend, you seemed instrumental in pushing Amanda to do something about her relationship ending. Do you regret that now? She said, no, because at the time, my friend was unhappy and I wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to feel a sense of relief and be able to exhale. It made me sad to see a woman not believing in herself, not thinking that she was worth anything. She's like, "I don't know. I've never seen that type of relationship in my life. Like, I've also never seen a healthy marriage in my life. I've seen a woman who had to fight tooth and nail to support her 2 kids. Her mom passed away early, and so she had to figure things out of herself. She had to, work 3 jobs to support her kids." And Andy says to Amanda, "What's your response to that?" "I've been extremely appreciative of everything Ciara has done for me. I've been there she's been there for me throughout the years. I know I've fucked up." Again, no emotion. "I will walk
Mm.
away from this set today doing a lot of thinking and a lot of reflecting, maybe just spending a lot of time just thinking about me." Lindsay said, "What did you think was gonna happen?" That's where I'm getting real confused. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Ciara's no how do you not know what this is gonna do to your friendship? And that's the whole thing. How do you
Yeah,
not
like
know?
knowing who Ciara is, knowing what she's been through with West, knowing the conversation she brought to the house, basically saying, like, a woman of color going through this on national television brings a lot of heat, a lot of comments, letting a white guy play you like that on national, like, we all saw it. We
Yep.
all saw it. And you
Now
just
let it go.
stuck
Let
the
it
knife
happen.
in and twisted.
This is where Jesse's sitting there and he's really crying, and Andy says, "Jesse, what's going through your mind? I didn't ex" and he's like, "I didn't expect this to get this emotional, based on what I've heard, I feel like I'm losing a brother. Like, I hope that somehow you can improve what's wrong, but it doesn't look good."
So before
Now
that on Peacock, he
mhm,
says that one of his best friends hooked up with his ex and lied about it for months, so he knows what it feels like. So I don't know if it was Carl or Lindsay, somebody said it happened this summer and it went on for
Carl.
months, the lying. Carl, yeah, it went on for months. I mean, that broke my heart for him.
Yeah, and I don't know why they didn't show that on
Me neither. It's
like, that
such an
should have been
important
on there.
piece.
It really is such an important piece. That should have been on there.
I mean, meanwhile, you're just showing him crying and crying over and over again, like, show why, that's why.
I
Not
mean,
that I don't think he
listen
would have cried, been emotional
right.
anyway, but obviously it's like PTSD.
But you know what it makes? It makes West's response even sound that much worse now that we know the whole story. Andy says, West, what's your reaction to that?" He's like, "I effing hate that." And obviously Jesse and I are incredibly close, and hearing him say that it doesn't look good is devastating.
What the
Okay.
hell did you think? Like, what did you think?
You're right. And that's when Andy asks, "No offense, but are you on a bunch of beta blockers? Everyone's so emotional around you." And he wasn't gonna admit to it first because then
No, he wasn't.
Jesse says, "Are you on beta blockers?" And he's like, I did take a beta block." He wasn't gonna admit to it.
No, he wasn't at all,
Andy asks Amanda, "Was it worth it?" And Bailey's on the other couch saying, "Please say no, please say no, please say no."
and she did not.
Andy said, "Let me ask you very clearly, are you 2 in love?" There was like a pause. Wes and Amanda said, "We're not using the word love right now. It's too early. It's been 2 to 3 months."
I think Eric and I said that in 2 months for sure.
Well, you don't blow up your whole world if you're not in love.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Like, you don't blow up
Exactly.
your whole you don't.
What
Wes
you
said, "I'm
did
very
to this
much."
group, what you did to Kyle and Sierra, like, you don't do that because you're trying to figure out feelings.
Wes said, "I'm very much committed to this relationship." Carl then, which I love, says to Amanda, "And you still wanna be with him after you've seen all his behavior? He's hooking up with 4 different girls and your former best friend. That's effing crazy." Amanda said, "I hear you.
Mhm. That's it.
I hear you, but I went to Italy with him."
That's right. She didn't take any time to reflect and spend by herself. She should have sent his ass to Italy and been like, "You know what? I need to take a beat. I'm gonna stay here, you go there, and, you know, we'll figure it out when we get back."
Andy then asked Wes, "Do you think you're gonna be able to give Amanda what she needs in a partner?" He's like, "I'm committed in making the effort to do it. I know that my history doesn't show that."
So he's not saying yes, he's saying he's committed to trying. He's gonna try.
But then he goes on to say, if Amanda and I can get back to what our early days were, those were very special days." Andy said, "Your early days, you mean 6 weeks ago?" It's so true.
Lindsay's response was, "The honeymoon phase? This guy." She's like, "Not this one, come on." Lindsay, I think at this point was very tipsy, especially
I
when
mean,
they come back for a break from break. That was the best, and she's got her glass of wine in her hand, and she's ready for it.
Right. Right, because her and me are in the back talking. She's like, "I cannot believe we were here for 10 hours and I still don't have any clarity."
Right. And they're like, "We know less than we did coming in today."
So they come back in and Kyle's talking to Wes saying, knowing that you don't have a plan for you and Amanda, it's like or even just all of us, then he starts to walk away and Amanda comes in and she goes up and she hugs Kyle. Like, that was a real hug, and Kyle is sitting there sobbing, while he's hugging Amanda, and West gets up and, like, looks uncomfortable and
He
just
didn't know
kind of,
what to
like,
do.
walks. Right. And Kyle said to her, and I think that this is one of the things that really bothers him the most, "I hate when our 10-year relationship gets talked about like it was 100% bad, like there weren't any good times." I can listen, that's hurtful. I get that. They had to have good times. There had to
No,
be
I
good
get it
times.
too. It's just a shame that he was responsible for mis mo all of the mistakes, I'm just gonna say it, in their relationship throughout that 10 years, like, while they were dating, while they were engaged, while they were married. It was his faults that are making people feel this way. Like, she really didn't do I mean,
I
withholding
don't agree with
affection
that.
and stuff like that,
I
sure.
don't agree with that. I mean, I think that that's a lot. I think that that is a lot. Like,
But I
if they're
just don't
not
think that it was
intimate.
always like that. Like, maybe, yeah, the last 4 years it was like that because she had had enough. But, we've beaten that conversation to
Yeah.
death, you and
I
I.
don't
We
think
just
it's
don't see
100%.
it the same way.
Yeah, I don't think it's 100% Kyle's fault. I'm just going to say that. It takes two. So then they come back and Lindsay comes back to the couch and she's like, "Andy, I didn't learn anything." Andy's like, "So what are you talking about?" She's like, "I feel like there's still not a lot of clarity." He said,
Did you see
"Wait,
Amanda glaring at her when she was saying that? Amanda was,
no, I
like,
didn't. I missed that."
glaring at her.
And then he's like, "All right, do you want me to start from the beginning?" And he pulls up the stack of cards.
He kinda lets her take over, though.
Well, he does a little bit. He does. I mean, she goes on to say, let's say, she says, "You guys said you weighed out all these options before making the decision, and that this doesn't affect just the four of you. Like, look at everyone here. Like, they're a mess. This affects all of us. I'm looking at you, Wes, because you're the manipulator." Kyle said, "Also, he made the first move. You were not looking this through the effects of the future of our friend group. It affects people's livelihoods, their careers." Lindsay said that today's the day you just thought about it, and it's very short si like, today's the day, okay, for effing for an effing hookup. The entire day has been overshadowed about all of this. All we wanted to do is get clarity, and you guys came to the table without giving us any clarity. Like, you kept saying, "Oh, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about," but you never answered anything.
And
Andy
after
asked
Lindsay
Kyle.
says everything, right? And after Lindsay says that, like, "This is, like, our livelihood, our
Right,
careers," Amanda just sits back and says, "I have a lot to think about."
right.
That was her
Yeah, and
response. That was her
right,
robotic, slow
that wa
talking response.
that was her response to almost everything.
Mhm.
And then Andy asked Kyle, "What does moving forward look like for you? It's clear I've been watching you during the breaks. I watched you and Amanda got up and you still love her. You still care about her. Like, how do you navigate the future?" He's like, I've had to make a big effort, just to be at peace. Like, no one cares about my side, and that's fine. Like, let's just have an amicable breakup. Like, we don't want her friends to have to choose sides, the audience to have to choose sides. And I do think that that still is his goal.
Yeah.
He does just want to have an amicable breakup. He said on the People interview that, luckily they never, although they didn't have a prenup, they never commingled funds. Like, she had her own
Wow.
accounts, he had his own accounts,
That was
which
smart.
would yes, which would explain why he was able to give her the bill for the rent that she never
Right.
paid,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Kyle said, "Andy, you know what? I don't know where to go from here. I really don't know."
I mean, I
That was
really think I obviously, nobody thinks it's gonna last between she and West. I think that that's gonna end very soon, and I think that she's gonna be able to have a friendship with Kyle, and West is gonna be banished as he should. Maybe
I
we'll
think
see
so
him
too.
on, he's not even good enough for Traitors. He'll be on the other one that
Villains, House of
Villains.
Villains.
Yeah.
But Andy also does bring up about, the, $160,000 that were raised, for the Girl Scout troop, 6,000, um, with the Carl's a Mess T-shirt merch, which is amazing.
So good.
And then they instead of doing a cheers, they're gonna bring out Girl Scout cookies, and I don't know if you caught this, but they hand out the Girl Scout cookies, and Wes goes to eat his, and something Amanda says, "Oh, don't eat yours yet, we're gonna cheers."
Yeah, but Jesse had already eaten his. Mark. Andy already took a bite out of his.
I know, but the fact
I
that
don't
she's
know
even
why she
telling him
said
what
that
to
to
do.
him. Oh, I totally agree with you. Like, is this just who she is in a
Right,
relationship?
right,
I totally
right,
agree with you there. 'Cause I'm like, "Wait a
right,
minute, we just saw Jesse popped that shit right in his mouth as soon as he took it." Andy was holding his, and you could see he had already taken a bite of his. So
right.
what's so
Like,
let him
you
eat
say
the cookie.
nothing. You say nothing this whole reunion, and you tell him, "Don't eat yours," and he's just like, "Okay."
Yeah, like he
Like,
stops,
it's
yeah,
it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. The
yeah.
whole thing is pathetic.
So another thing that was on Peacock that was not on wait, did I say this? Did we talk about this? Andy's asked Amanda at some point, "Did you say to West at the Yankees game, 'Act like you like me'?" And she said, "Yes, but it was part of a bigger conversation, like, that was just, like, one thing, it was a bigger conversation that we were having." So, I don't know what the hell that means, but she did say it. I mean, you can't deny it. Your lips
Right,
are literally,
right,
saying it, mouthing it. So, she did admit to that, but yeah, so, I mean and then the cookie thing, it's like, so maybe that's just who she is in a relationship, like, "Don't do this, do that."
right. And Kyle, listen, I think that Kyle was beat down. He never felt validated. He never felt like he could do anything right. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Clearly, they were both guilty and both contributed to the end of that relationship.
So at the end of the reunion, we get to see we're getting another episode. This could not make me any happier. It is going to be a bonus episode. It's going to be Lindsay and Amanda sitting down on the couch and talking, Kyle and West sitting down and talking, Mija and Ciara sitting down and talking. And the little teasers of it we got already, I cannot wait. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
so I feel like it's, like, so overproduced, but, whatever. It is what it is. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we'll learn a little bit more, but do we even need to learn anything more? Like, it just is what it is. Now, let them go off and be together and see what happens. Like, do we really need a bonus episode?
I don't know. That's the other thing Kyle said about the 2.5 hour sit down he had with West is that he didn't even really learn anything. Like
That's what I mean.
he didn't even get his questions answered. But I do want to see Mija, and I hope that maybe this parlays to a Bravo career for her.
Maybe. Good call. That
Right?
would be great, right? If she takes over,
Yeah.
like, if they get rid of West and then she takes over. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever, that's Bravo's, formula, picking up the cameras, but we do see Lindsay say to Amanda that he said you were obsessed with him. We're assuming she's talking about West, but so whatever Lindsay said to Amanda in that conversation, we already know it didn't sink in because she's in Italy with him or was in Italy
Right.
with him. I think they're still
Right.
there, aren't they?
I don't know if they're back or not. And you know what? I don't even really care.
I don't care either.
Right? We don't
They're
care.
gonna get heckled on the streets of NYC.
Oof. By the way, go Knicks. It's Wednesday. We're
Go
recording this on Wednesday.
Knicks.
Go
Yep.
Knicks.
Go Knicks.
Knicks in 5. Knicks in 5.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Yes. Would have been nice to be there, but I don't have 8 grand laying around for a ticket.
Yeah. And who does?
Nobody I know.
And
Well,
honestly, the logistics of even getting there? No, thank you. I'm sorry. We are too old for that.
totally, totally agree. Totally agree. You couldn't pay me to be in the city right now.
Well, depends how much. You may be able to pay me.
That's true. I keep saying you couldn't pay me, but there's a lot I would do for the right amount of money, so I should really stop saying that.
Let's not be rash about these things.
Yeah, I'm too quick. I'm too quick to jump to that.
All right.
Oh, and
So
by the way,
until
I got an airbrush tan today because I'm going to a wedding on Friday. If I look extra crispy, just in case somebody wants to come at me with some comments on YouTube.
well, I think you look fabulous.
Thank you very much.
You
Looking
probably
forward to
make me
rinsing
look
it off.
extra you probably make me look extra pale, a little
Sorry.
ghostly, which is fine. It's okay.
Sorry.
It is what it is. I am who I am, right?
That's right. That's right. That's why we got to pay for the airbrush tan because I am too.
That's it. So thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe and give us 5-star reviews. Bye.
Bye.